Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. May I have your attention, please? We're so glad you're getting a chance to enjoy lunch and the conversation at your tables. My name is Michael Llewellyn, Vice President of Marketing and Communications at the University of Portland. We want to acknowledge some people who are very important to us here in the room. I ask that you do two things. One, silence your phones, because if the eyes are the window to the soul, then what is your ringtone in terms of what it may say about you? Also, then, once these folks are all standing, if you would hold your applause till then, that would be great. Certainly, we would like to acknowledge members of our Board of Regents who are part of the governing entity for the University of Portland. If our members of the Board of Regents would please stand. Members of our National Alumni Board and proud supporters of the University of Portland, National Alumni Board members. Members of the President's Leadership Cabinet, myself included, members of the President's Leadership Cabinet. I know we're scattered around the room as table hosts. A very strong and important part of our academic structure, the Provost Council. Would members of the Provost Council please stand? And finally, the members of the Congregation of Holy Cross, who are at the root and the foundation of all that UP stands for. Congregation of Holy Cross. One of the things that we work on very hard to do, putting a lot of effort in, that comes to the messaging around the university, and we're going to share a very important piece of video for you here in just a moment. But before you see the video, I'd like to say a few words about Father Mark Poorman. I'm honored to have this opportunity to say some words about Father Mark as president of our university, who will take the stage in just a few moments. In addition to his work as our president, Father Mark serves as a professor of theology and co-teaches a popular course on applied ethics and personal moral formation called the Character Project. His leadership and vision have been and continue to be vitally important to the many successes we've achieved as a university community. I'm sure you will enjoy his remarks as I will, but for now, I do ask you to give your attention to the screen, and following this message, the first voice you will hear, the next voice will be that of Father Mark Poorman.
This is where you can discover who you are.
And who you want to be.
Where you can find your place in the world.
And discover how to make it better.
Where you can explore your faith and spirituality.
And use them to strengthen your community.
Where you will learn not just to make a living,
but how to live your life.
This is the University of Portland.
Good afternoon to all of you. It's great to see you. I'm told that we're live streamed this afternoon, so I'm trying to get all the salad out of my teeth. Thank you so much, Michael. And before I begin, please join me in thanking Dr. Karen Eifler for offering our welcome and invocation this afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us today. I look around the room and I see so many friends of the university, from alumni to regents to industry partners to leaders in our community. It is a genuine pleasure to be with you to offer some reflections on the current state of the University of Portland, as well as some thoughts as we look toward UP's bright future. It's been 2 years since I last addressed the state of the university in this particular setting, and in that time, our UP community has seen some great triumphs, and we've also experienced some really profound losses. We have soared to new heights in academic rigor and in quality. We've advanced our commitment to educating students not just in the classroom, but also outside of it as well. We've encountered challenges, we've withstood tests, and through it all, I must say, I think we've emerged stronger. It's a bold statement, but I'm confident when I say that UP is stronger today than it was when I offered this address 2 years ago, and indeed stronger today than it's ever been in its proud 119-year history. I think you know that I bring our wonderful provost, Tom Green, with me because he starts the applause over and over again. It's just so great. With today's remarks, I hope to accomplish two things. First, I'll like to discuss just a few of the many, many challenges that are currently facing higher education in the United States, particularly the challenges that are facing mid-sized Catholic liberal arts-based comprehensive institutions like UP. Second, I'll share how we at UP are rising to meet those challenges head-on, how we are poised not just to survive in these turbulent times, but indeed to thrive, how we're positioned to build upon our institutional legacy and become even better at helping people to lead lives of meaning and purpose, and how UP's next 119 years will be even better than the 119 that have come before. So first, if you will, some challenges. To understand the current state of UP, one must also understand the environment in which we and other colleges and universities operate. Institutions of higher education in 2020 are facing enormous challenges, and no one is immune. From the most selective private colleges and universities to large land-grant public institutions, to small liberal arts colleges, to community colleges, all those institutions are facing headwinds. Open up the Chronicle of Higher Education or Inside Higher Ed, and you can't miss the stories. Enrollment challenges, budget cuts, faculty and staff layoffs, and indeed institutional closures. As you know, we're witnessing these challenges right here in Portland. All of us at UP were saddened when we received the news earlier this month that Concordia University of Portland will close at the end of spring 2020. That development follows on the recent closures of Merrillhurst and the Oregon College of Art and Craft. These challenges come at a time when the reputation and perceived value of higher education are increasingly in question. A recent Pew Research Center study found that 61% of Americans think that higher ed in the US is going in the wrong direction. A study completed just this past July found that only 50% of Americans think that colleges have a positive effect on our country. Higher ed's status as a great equalizer and a great accelerator is also showing some cracks. When it comes to how higher ed drives social mobility and breaks down obstacles to success among people from underrepresented groups, we can see both achievements, but we can also see some setbacks. It's true that from 2010 to 2016, the number of college students who identify as being part of a racial or ethnic minority increased by more than 6 percentage points to 43%. This is partly due to nearly 850,000 more Hispanic students enrolled in colleges and universities. In fact, according to Pew, from 2006 to 16, Hispanic students more than doubled their share of enrollment at colleges and universities, rising to 16% of the total enrollment. But the number of college students who identify as, as Black, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander, and American Indian all fell significantly. Competition for students among institutions of higher education is intense today, and it will only become more heated in coming years. As our Vice President for Financial Affairs, Alan Timmons, likes to say, the keys to stability and, in reality, the key to survival for so many colleges and universities are 1, enrollment, 2, enrollment, and 3, enrollment. The number of 18-year-olds in the United States will increase by 8% over 2017 levels in the period beginning in 2022 and lasting until 25. However, in the years 2026 through 29, the number of 18-year-olds in the U.S. will decrease by 14% compared to 2017 levels. For many of our peers in higher education, this coming demographic shift is an existential problem. The field of enrollment management will also intensify as ethical restrictions on student recruitment are now relaxed. In the past, once a student had been admitted to an institution and submitted their deposit, other schools would then end their efforts to recruit that student. Moving forward, however, no such rules will apply. This means that even if you're admitted to a school and you've submitted your deposit, other schools will attempt to contact you in an effort to get you to reverse your commitment and enroll at their institution. These are now the rules, or lack thereof. Furthermore, in the future, recruitment efforts won't end just because a student has enrolled at another school. Rather, institutions now are investing in what they are calling the transfer marketplace, attempting to get students who have already enrolled at other institutions and even completed multiple semesters of coursework to transfer to their own institution. This is a sea change in the world of college admissions. Catholic colleges and universities are facing their own unique set of challenges. Controversies like the clergy sex abuse have contributed to these challenges, but the larger threat to enrollment health is a decline in affiliation with the Catholic Church. According to Georgetown's Center for Applied Research in the Apostolate, Catholic baptisms decreased by 34% from 2007 to 2017. And from 2010 to 17, Catholic high school enrollment decreased by 5.7%. Graduates today are stepping into the world and facing lots of uncertainty. They regularly and astutely ask, will we see another recession? Will wages grow or will they remain stagnant? Will housing be affordable when I begin my career? What about health care? What about the cost of living? What about creating for myself a higher quality of life than my parents enjoyed? The student loan debt challenges are making these questions even more difficult. Right now in the United States, total student loan debt stands at $1.6 trillion. This is tough on everyone, but women owe a disproportionate share of this debt, and they face challenges in the workforce and in repayment that are not shared by their male counterparts. Set aside for a moment all these numbers and think of other higher ed headlines from the past few years. Consider the Varsity Blues college admission scandal in which parents were gaming the system to get their children admitted to elite institutions. Consider the NCAA infractions and compliance controversies that have rocked the world of intercollegiate athletics. Think of the leadership turmoil that has plagued so many institutions. I know all of this seems very dire. It's safe to say that the economic and demographic and cultural and legal challenges facing higher ed today may be more complex, more formidable than they have ever been. But there is cause for hope and for optimism. And here's where I get to discuss how UP is navigating these incredible headwinds and moving forward confidently in these very uncertain times. As I said earlier, it's a bold statement that UP is stronger now than it's ever been. But when you study the data and you look across the university at the quality of our students, our faculty, staff, alumni, our academic offerings, our student services, our facilities, our community, I'm convinced it's an accurate statement. The University of Portland has the highest graduation rate among all four-year colleges and universities in the state of Oregon, public and private. Our six-year graduation rate for Pell Grant recipients, those are students with some of the greatest financial need, is second among all Oregon colleges and universities. In 2010, 26% of our undergraduates identified as students of color. As of fall 2019, that number has risen to 43%. Thank you. At a time when many institutions are struggling to meet enrollment targets, we have continued to attract and retain students. In 2014, our undergraduate full-time enrollment stood at 3,786. At the end of this past academic year, that number had increased to 3,965. We continue to recruit the largest classes in university history. This past August, we welcomed over 1,000 first-year students to the Bluff. Our enrollment management team is focused on the demographic shift that I talked about earlier. It's important to note that the only region in the country in which the number of 18-year-olds is expected to grow is the West, spanning from Colorado to the Mountain West, to the Southwest, to California, Alaska, Hawaii, and the Pacific Northwest. These are areas in which UP has found great success in terms of recruitment. We are going to be even more focused on those key strategic regions in the years ahead. UP has excelled in not just recruiting students to join us on the Bluff, but retaining them as well. The Chronicle of Higher Education recently examined retention rates of institutions similar to UP in terms of selectivity. Of the 417 institutions they evaluated, UP ranked 15th. It's okay, thank you. Our first year to sophomore retention rate of 90.1% is indeed something we can be proud of. We recognize that credit for much of this success we've attained should go to our outstanding, brilliant, and dedicated faculty. We understand the need to support our faculty as they strive to become the best teacher scholars in their fields. Annual per capita spending on faculty professional development now exceeds $2,000 per full-time faculty member. That's a 26% increase since 2012. 96% of our faculty continue working at UP after their first year. We enjoy a 12-to-1 student-to-faculty ratio today compared to 14-to-1 5 years ago. And the number of faculty has increased from 255 in 2014 to 311 as of a year ago. Our pilot athletics program continue to be an enormous source of pride. The players who wear Portland purple are student athletes in that order. This past fall, over 75% of our student athletes had GPAs of 3.0 or higher, and over 41% of our student athletes were named to the Dean's List. I looked at the data. Our women's cross-country team had an average GPA of 3.68, and 5 of our women's cross-country runners earned 4.0 averages. Our latest NCAA graduation success rate stands at 94%, well above our national average. And they accomplished this while still competing against high-level Division I athletics. In fact, at the end of this past academic year, UP ranked fourth among all Division I institutions that do not sponsor a football in terms of overall departmental success. That is a truly remarkable achievement as well. A crashing understatement, we are a tuition-driven institution. As a result, philanthropic success is critical when it comes to providing financial aid, supporting faculty teaching and research, and ensuring the excellence of our student experience. Fortunately, we're enjoying the most successful fundraising years in university history. Our annual donor base has increased from 7,000 people in 2015 to over 8,000 today. Our colleagues, treasured colleagues in development, alumni and parent relations, and marketing and communication continue to innovate and inspire as they ensure that the bond between UP and its students doesn't end when they graduate. Instead, it's a lifelong relationship, evidenced right here today. A little over a month from now, from noon on April 1st to noon on April 2nd, the university will, for the third time, host one of our signature philanthropic events, Pilots Give. Pilots Give is UP's Day of Giving, a day in which our entire university community comes together to donate funds that go straight to students. In 2019, we surpassed our goal of securing 2,019 individual donors. In just 24 hours, we raised over $1 million for the UP Fund for Scholarships, each of our colleges and schools, campus ministry, pilot athletics, the Moreau Center for Service and Justice, Clark Library, many more. On April 1st and 2nd of this year, Pilots Give will be back, and this year our goal is to secure gifts from 3,000 individual donors during a 24-hour period. No amount is too small or too big, and it all adds up. So I hope you will mark your calendars and plan to donate to UP for Pilots Give on April 1st and 2nd. End of commercial. Finally, and perhaps most importantly, we continue to effectively live out our Roman Catholic and Holy Cross identities. We do this by first acknowledging that our religious identity is a privilege to be celebrated rather than a hindrance to be minimized or endured. And second, by practicing radical hospitality and being open and welcoming to all people of all faith traditions and no faith tradition at all. Our Catholic identity is just that. It is an identity. It's not simply a heritage. It is our animating principle. We live it out by embracing those things that are important and essential to our faith: the dignity of the human person, the call to family and community and participation, the protection of human rights and the most vulnerable among us, care for God's creation, and solidarity with others, regardless of how they might differ from ourselves. People are drawn to our Catholic and Holy Cross identities, even if they themselves do not share our particular beliefs. We must never take our religious character for granted, and we must never regard our continued Catholic Holy Cross identities as an inevitability. Sustaining and strengthening our religious mission requires constant attention these days. To that end, our Office of Campus Ministry does great work day in, day out to form the spiritual dimensions of our students. I'm also delighted to share that we are in the beginning phases of a new initiative at UP, an institution-wide University Standing Committee on Mission, which I will chair. This group, which is comprised of thought leaders from across the entire campus, will look strategically at how the disparate parts of our university can work together and advance our religious mission. Its goal will be to strengthen and enhance the lived experience of our Catholic identity among students and faculty and staff and alumni and friends of the university. The group's work is only just beginning, but it shows great promise, and I'm excited about all that it will accomplish. I know I've already cited a lot of numbers and statistics and factual information, and I hope I haven't lost you yet, but I think this information gives you a sense for all the good things that are happening at UP, and I think it demonstrates the strength of the institution that we all cherish. None of these accomplishments are the result of luck or happenstance. They are achieved because of the collective efforts of so many people on the Bluff, and indeed many of our treasured community partners who are here today, all enabled by God's grace, plain, old-fashioned hard work, long hours in which a lot of personal sacrifices are made. UP is not a perfect institution, far from it. We've got a lot of runway. But when I pause and I look at the beauty and the grace that's present, I feel that we as an institution have a lot to be proud of. So we might ask, what of the future? Where will UP go next? St. Bernard of Clairvaux commented that on the way of life, not to progress is to regress. With that in mind, let me provide just a glimpse of where our institution intends to go. First, at a time when the liberal arts are being questioned, when higher education is becoming commodified, and when people are doubting the value of a personalized, tailored, faith-based education, the University of Portland will purposely lean into all of those things that have distinguished us for the first 119 years and will distinguish us going forward. We invest in the liberal arts, in our liberal arts identity. We proclaim our Catholic animating principles. We adhere to our belief in educating the whole person, not just because we know that that's right, but because we know that that's the type of education we offer at UP is what the world so badly needs right now. In a global and national environment in which, frankly, the virtues of honesty and humility and decency and respect and charity and humor and kindness can sometimes be in really short supply, Catholic liberal arts institutions like UP stand ready to develop people of conscience and people of substance and people of character. Because of our attention to dimensions of faith, we're able to respond to and serve the foundational needs of our students and, by extension, the world. We also know that this is the kind of education that students and employers truly want. A recent study of Gen Z students found that 67% of them want their careers to have a positive impact on the world. No surprise. Studies also show that college students who had professors who made them excited about learning are 2 times more likely to find a professional career that's engaging and fulfilling. The same goes for students who say that their professors cared for them as people, mentored them, and encouraged them to pursue their goals and passions. These are the things we do at UP that have real, tangible impacts on the lives of our students. Employers are also expressing a very strong preference for graduates who don't just have technical expertise, but also have emotional intelligence, empathy, humor, communication skills, things that students develop when they're on a campus and in a community. In fact, these indispensable soft skills are the things that set our alumni apart from the pack and lead them to success in their chosen careers. Georgetown University's Center on Education and the Workforce recently examined return on investment for over 4,500 colleges and universities. The data from that study are fascinating. The popular narrative is that liberal arts are impractical. You hear it all the time. That they're out of touch with what the world truly needs and where the global economy is headed. The study found that actually quite the opposite is true. Over the course of a career, a liberal arts education is remarkably practical, providing a median return on investment of almost $1 million. This is $200,000 more than the median for all colleges and universities. Look at UP. Granted, in the short term, the ROI on a UP education is not as high as it is from many non-liberal arts institutions. But look at it 40 years out. The net present value of a UP education is $1.172 million. That places UP in the top 5.25% of all the colleges and universities in the United States. The liberal arts education that we offer at UP is indeed practical. Our focus now at UP is offering a contemporary liberal arts education that reflects the best of the Catholic intellectual tradition while also preparing our students for the working world of today. The education we provide must be, in some ways, radically traditional, and it has to be radically relevant. I'm excited to announce how we intend to do just that. First, we're going to focus on curriculum. Recently, a group of faculty leaders concluded months and months of deliberative examination of our core curriculum. Their labors have addressed a growing concern that the core had just become for our students a list of requirements, a series of boxes to be checked by the end of sophomore year so that you can move on to studies in your chosen major. Our newly revitalized core curriculum isn't something that's just completed in your first or second year. Rather, our new approach will cover the 4 years that a student is on campus, with the focus shifting from first foundation and then to exploration, and finally, integration. The core begins with a 15-week introduction focusing on the value of the liberal arts. Then, students engage in academic work centered on what we've identified as 6 habits of mind and heart. Finally, the core will provide students with a culminating academic experience, a capstone, for them to truly put it all together in that integration phase. Experiential learning and partnering with faculty on their research will be at the core of this core. We're excited about it, which the core will begin and we'll roll it out in 2021, and we're confident that it will serve our students very well. Second, we know that if we want to enhance the holistic educational experience of our students, we must offer world-class facilities. We've made progress on this front, and in our efforts, they're going to increase in the years to come. With our enhancements to the physical landscape of UP, our goal is not to build buildings for the sake of building buildings, and a little edifice complex. Rather, we start with the student experience, asking ourselves what our students truly need, and we launch capital projects from there. For example, we're keenly aware of the values of hands-on learning, innovation, and design for our students in the Donald P. Shiley School of Engineering. It's critical that our engineering students gain the opportunity to put the theories and the principles they've learned to use while they're still on campus, not just after they've graduated. The Shiley Marcos Center for Design and Innovation will allow us to do just that. This is going to be a 39,000 square foot facility that will feature ideation studios and combustion and propulsion labs and fabrication spaces and much more. This building will truly strengthen our already excellent engineering curriculum. Our pilot nurses also benefit tremendously from the opportunity to engage in hands-on experiential learning. Our new Elsie Franz Finley Simulated Health Center and our Nelson Family Simulated Ambulatory Health Care Center are state-of-the-art facilities for our wonderful School of Nursing. They offer the kind of real-world technical training that healthcare employers are seeking when they recruit and when they train our students. And as many of you are aware, we've also undertaken an ambitious plan to redevelop the 35-acre tract just below the bluff on the banks of the Willamette. Once completed, the Franz campus will be home to a track and field facility, an environmental research center, a rowing facility and dock, a new physical plant building, and eventually a tennis center, in addition to the varsity and intramural fields that have already been opened down there. The designs are complete, and we've selected a contractor to conduct all of this work, and all future projects for the Franz campus will, thankfully, be initiated this summer. There's perhaps no better example of how we're using top-notch facilities to complement the student experience than our brand new Dundon Berchtold Hall. This 65,000 square foot 21st century learning commons has already had a profound impact on the education we provide at UP. It's home to our Dundon Berchtold Institute for Moral Formation and Applied Ethics, which offers classes and public events and research support on the studies of character and ethics and morality. Some say that the word transformative gets used a little too often in higher education, but I have to claim it this time. In this case, it really fits. This building is transformative. Take a quick look at this video, which offers a glimpse into the impact of Dundon Berchtold Hall. We want this to be the premier Catholic university in the West. It may sound like an audacious goal, but we think it's achievable. And in the immortal words of Brian Doyle, why not us? Facilities like Dundon Berchtold, which are first-class facilities, are going to help us get there. It's going to help us to make the vision a reality.
Dundon Berchtold Hall is going to add 17 classrooms, plus a seminar room, plus 36 offices, 2 conference rooms, the Dundon Berchtold Institute, an auditorium dedicated to Brian Doyle. It's going to make a huge difference in how we're able to serve the students.
It's absolutely beautiful. I've loved getting to walk around it. It's been a blast just going through here and getting to see everything. It's a little bit of a maze. I've been enjoying trying to figure out navigating the place and getting just to enjoy all the building and see all the different aspects of it. It's really nice.
Also, this building will stand here for generations of pilots, and that's a blessing knowing that as seniors we leave, but there is this big building that we can come back to.
I've said from the beginning that we really wanted to make ethics a centerpiece for the university, and I think that Dundon Berchtold Institute, dedicated as it is to moral formation, character development, applied ethics, is an institute that's going to have that kind of impact on the university. And so my proposal to Jim and Amy was, why not have the institute at the center of that building and have the building at the center of the campus?
It is clear that this is a time for the Dundon Berchtold Institute to launch into a new level of programming. Having a good, strong sense of ethics that is something more than just a legal floor, I think that that's really a key aspect of the gift from Jim and Amy. This particular building is going to last for hundreds of years, and we think that the legacy behind this is that thousands of students are going to be educated there.
I think one of the great things about Dundon Berchtold Hall is that it is indeed a first-class academic building. I choose to think of it as a building that is worthy of our students and our faculty, and I think it's the way that Jim and Amy would have us think about it. And finally, we will begin work on the University of Portland's next strategic plan. Our current strategic plan, Vision 2020, is serving us very well. It's guided our efforts since 2016. It will continue to do so through the 2020 calendar year. Vision 2020 established a great set of shared goals and generated a common vocabulary, and it led to some great measurable outcomes, and it helped us to maintain our focus and to stay organized. Nevertheless, now it's time for a transition, given the challenges that I highlighted earlier. Our next strategic plan might just be one of the most important planning documents in UP history. Generating our strategic plan will again be a collective effort and the result of a long deliberative process. I'm convinced that the plan will place our identity as a Catholic Holy Cross liberal arts institution at the forefront. It will highlight the need to further strengthen our opportunities for experiential learning and graduate education. It will feature a call for UP to strongly pursue institutional and environmental sustainability. And it will emphasize the growth of our ethical reflection and spiritual lives through engagement with the needs of the local community, the local church, and the world. And finally, it will call upon us to make further investments in providing the best possible experience for our students. The new plan will be launched in conjunction with a targeted giving campaign that will focus on supporting 3 key pillars at the core of our mission and at the core of student experience: financial aid, experiential learning, and the design and construction of a new student center. These are indeed exciting times for the University of Portland. We've achieved great success, but we can't afford to rest on our laurels. As I've discussed, the challenges confronting higher ed are too real, too formidable for us to sit idly by. We are on solid footing. We serve our students and our community well. We're doing great work to advance our mission, but we can and we must and we will do even better. As I consider where we stand, I'm filled with deep and abiding gratitude for the mission of the place, the people who learn and serve on our campus, and the accomplishments that we have achieved collectively by the grace of God and a shared community vision. I'm thankful, too, for the wonderful collaborators we have in Portland, many of whom are gathered here today and watching live stream. I want to thank you for the many, many ways in which you support us, from mentoring students who are interested in following you into a particular career, to speaking on our campus about your industry, to hiring UP grads as interns, undergrads as interns, and hopefully hiring them once they've graduated, to offering us your prayers and your support. For all these things, we are profoundly grateful. I treasure the opportunity to serve UP and the Congregation of Holy Cross as president. It's provided me with an enormous sense of personal and pastoral and professional and vocational fulfillment, and I'm tremendously excited to consider and to act upon all the ways we can make UP an even stronger, more faith-filled institution. God bless all of you. God bless the University of Portland community. Thank you for coming today. Thanks so much.
Well, thank you for sharing your presence and commitment to the University of Portland with us. And thank you, Father Poorman, for your forthright words of encouragement and institutional accomplishments. It takes a village to do just about anything worthwhile, and we are blessed beyond words to have all of you in ours. Before we conclude, I remind you that Pilots Give, our annual day of giving, will begin at noon on April 1st and conclude at noon on April 2nd. We hope that you'll mark your calendars and that you'll consider supporting the holy work that we do at UP on that special day. Also, alumni are reminded that our annual reunion weekend will take place this year from June 25th through June 28th. More details and information on registration will follow soon. Finally, as we take our leave of one another, let us pray that we may be generous in our justice, profligate in our love, and limitless in our listening. Amen, and good afternoon to you all.